Where did Lucifer's first evil desire come from? Have you ever wondered how one of the most powerful angels in heaven became an enemy of God? In this video, we'll uncover the moment pride entered his heart, why he envied God, and how his rebellion changed everything. Stick around to the end, you'll learn how this ancient story can still warn us today. This video is brought to you by the Bible Memory app, the #1 app for memorizing Bible verses, which has over 1 million downloads. Click the link in the description to gain free access today. To understand where Lucifer's first evil desire comes from, we need to start from his origin. Have you ever asked yourself, how did the most magnificent angel in all of heaven become the embodiment of evil? How could someone so close to God, so perfect in wisdom and beauty, fall so far? To answer this, we have to look at who Lucifer was before everything changed. Lucifer wasn't just any angel. Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 12 to 15 describes him as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He was created in absolute flawlessness, both in appearance and understanding. His role wasn't ordinary either. He was the anointed guardian cherub. Imagine that. Lucifer was positioned to protect God's glory, standing in the presence of the Almighty, witnessing the fullness of God's majesty day in and day out. How could a being so high, so favored, so perfect fall? Verse 14 tells us that Lucifer walked amid fiery stones, directly referring to his access to God's throne room. He was adorned with precious stones, topaz, sapphire, emerald, and diamond. His radiance must have been awe-inspiring. He was created good. There was no flaw, no hint of evil in him. Everything about Lucifer reflected the glory of the Creator. But something changed. As Ezekiel 28 verse 15 puts it, "You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created till wickedness was found in you." How shocking must that have been? A being who knew only holiness and purity suddenly birthed wickedness from within. What was it that entered his heart? Was it pride in his own beauty? Was it a desire to be worshipped like God himself? Lucifer's beauty and wisdom, once a reflection of God's glory, began to turn inward. He began to focus not on his creator, but on himself. His heart grew proud because of his splendor. In Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13 to verse 14, Lucifer said, "I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High." This was the moment where everything began to unravel. The moment when a perfect being chose his glory over God's. Lucifer's downfall began with a single thought: I deserve more. Lucifer's pride wasn't just a fleeting thought, it was the beginning of everything evil. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 to 15 gives us a chilling glimpse into his heart. Lucifer declared, "I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High." Can you imagine the audacity? The creature God made to reflect his glory now sought to rival him. Pride made Lucifer think he was worthy of God's throne. This wasn't just a small desire for recognition or acknowledgement. No, this was a burning ambition to be equal to or even greater than the Creator himself. Pride twisted Lucifer's perfect state, and that's where everything began to fall apart. Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 17 says, "Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor." Lucifer's pride blinded him to the reality that everything he had, his beauty, his wisdom, his power, was given to him by God. But pride made him believe it was all his own doing, that he deserved more. This pride didn't just stay in his heart, it led to outright rebellion. It was the spark that ignited a war in heaven, causing Lucifer and a third of the angels to fall. But why? Why would a perfect angel turn against God? It was pride, the most subtle, yet most dangerous of sins. Pride convinces us we deserve what only God can have: ultimate authority and ultimate glory. Lucifer's fall serves as a warning to us all. It was the first sin, and to this day it remains one of the most destructive forces in our lives. Just as it corrupted Lucifer's perfect state, pride has the power to corrupt everything good in us, leading to rebellion against God. The second thing we need to know is the power of free will and the mystery of sin. If Lucifer was created perfect, how could evil ever enter his heart? How could a being who stood in God's presence every day choose rebellion? This is where the mystery of free will comes into play. God gave Lucifer the power to choose. Lucifer, like all of God's created beings, was not a robot. He was given free will, a gift from God that allowed him to love and serve God out of his own choice. But with free will comes a profound risk, the ability to reject God. In giving Lucifer the freedom to choose, God opened the door to the possibility of sin. The Bible tells us that God is not the author of evil, but he allows his creations the freedom to choose between good and evil. So where did Lucifer's first evil desire come from? It wasn't something planted by God, it arose from within. Ezekiel 28 verse 15 says, "You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created, till wickedness was found in you." The ability to choose evil was always there because of free will, but what's mysterious is how a perfect being, surrounded by God's glory, could want to choose it. This is the mystery of sin, that evil can arise in a place of perfection. Lucifer's heart was free to love and serve God, but it was also free to turn inward, to seek his glory instead of God's. Sin wasn't forced upon him, he chose it. And in that choice, we see the terrifying power of free will. The same mystery applies to humanity. God gave us free will, and with it comes the ability to follow him or walk away. Just as Lucifer was tempted by pride, we too are tempted to put ourselves above God. But where does that desire come from? How does a heart turn away from the one who created it? The answer lies in the freedom God gives and the danger that comes with it. The third thing we need to know is the role of envy and ambition. Have you ever wondered what happens when a heart created to worship begins to envy the very one it was meant to glorify? How could Lucifer, who stood in the glory of God, begin to desire the throne of the Almighty? His fall didn't just start with pride. It was envy and unchecked ambition that truly set his rebellion into motion. Lucifer wasn't satisfied with his exalted position as the anointed cherub. He wanted more. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13 to verse 14, reveals his ambitious desire. "You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High." It wasn't enough for Lucifer to be the most beautiful, wise, and powerful angel. He wanted equality with God. He wanted to sit on the throne. But where did this envy come from? It's one thing to admire greatness. It's another to crave it so desperately that it consumes your heart. Lucifer, in his ambition, grew envious of God's authority, his power, and his unmatched glory. This envy began to twist his purpose. Instead of exalting God, Lucifer began to seek self-exaltation. His ambition wasn't just to rise, it was to overthrow. He desired not just to reflect God's light, but to become the source of that light. James chapter 3 verse 16 warns us, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." This was true for Lucifer. His ambition led him down a dark path, where his desire for more clouded the purpose for which he was created. Instead of finding joy in serving God, he found bitterness in wanting to be God. So what shifted in Lucifer's heart that led to his rebellion? It remains a sobering reminder that even the highest, most glorious creation can fall when pride is allowed to take root. The fact that we don't have all the answers about why this happened drives us to deeper humility and reflection on our hearts. The question of why evil came from Lucifer does not have a simple answer, but it serves as a stark warning. If the most beautiful and powerful of God's angels could fall, how much more must we guard our hearts? The mystery of iniquity in Lucifer remains, reminding us of the unfathomable nature of sin and the importance of remaining faithful to God's truth. The fourth thing we need to know is the impact of Lucifer's choice. Have you ever considered how one single choice can change the course of eternity? Lucifer's first evil desire didn't just destroy him. It sent shockwaves through all of creation, forever altering the spiritual landscape. What started as an inner ambition and rebellion led to a cosmic war, and ultimately to his transformation into Satan, the deceiver of the world. Lucifer's fall from grace wasn't just a personal failure. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 makes it clear, the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. His rebellion infected not only the angels who followed him, but the entire human race through deception and sin. His choice to defy God became the foundation for every act of evil, suffering, and temptation in the world. What's more chilling is how his decision didn't just change his nature, it gave birth to the adversary, the Satan we know from Scripture. Once an anointed cherub who dwelled in the presence of God, Lucifer now embodies everything that opposes God's purposes. He became the ruler of darkness, the one who relentlessly seeks to draw humanity away from the truth of God. The moment he rebelled, Lucifer declared war against everything God had made, turning his attention to deceiving, destroying, and disrupting God's plan for humanity. Think about the scope of this impact. The serpent who deceived Eve in the garden, the accuser of Job, and the tempter of Jesus in the wilderness. All these actions stem from that initial decision to rebel. His choice initiated a battle between good and evil. In John chapter 8, verse 44, Jesus describes Satan's nature, saying, "He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies." This identity as the father of lies didn't begin in the Garden of Eden. It began the moment Lucifer allowed pride, envy, and ambition to consume him. The fifth thing we need to know is the lesson we can learn from Satan's fall. Lucifer's fall from glory is the ultimate warning for us all. His story reminds believers that no one is immune to the dangers of self-exaltation. What starts as a desire to be seen, known, or praised can swiftly spiral into rebellion against God. So how can we guard our hearts against the sin that brought down an anointed cherub? The Bible makes it clear, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Lucifer's pride didn't just lead to his ruin, it brought eternal consequences, igniting the cosmic battle between good and evil. And this same destructive force lurks in the hearts of men, waiting for an opportunity to bring us down. No matter how gifted, how powerful, or how spiritual we think we are, pride is always a threat. Consider King Nebuchadnezzar, a man who experienced this truth firsthand. In Daniel chapter 4, verse 30, he boasted, "Is not this the great Babylon I have built as the royal residence, by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty?" Immediately after his words, God humbled him by taking away his sanity and reducing him to live like an animal, until he acknowledged that the highest is sovereign over all kingdoms. His pride nearly cost him his kingdom and his soul. Then there's King Uzziah, who also fell victim to pride. 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 16 says, "But after Uzziah became powerful, his pride led to his downfall. He was unfaithful to the Lord his God and entered the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of incense." Uzziah's arrogance in assuming a role meant only for priests led to his punishment. He was struck with leprosy and lived the rest of his life in isolation. Even the Pharisees in the New Testament, religious leaders who appeared righteous on the outside, were corrupted by their pride. They exalted themselves as superior, believing they were above reproach. But Jesus exposed their hypocrisy. In Luke chapter 18, verse 14, he warned, "For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Lucifer's pride serves as a stark warning to every believer. No one is exempt from the destructive power of pride. The moment we start to glorify ourselves, thinking we are the source of our strength or wisdom, we risk following in his footsteps. Pride convinces us that we can do without God. It distorts reality, causing us to forget that every gift, every blessing, and every bit of power comes from the Creator. Have you ever stopped to think that even in Lucifer's rebellion, God was still in control? Despite the chaos, the fall of one of heaven's most magnificent beings was not a surprise to God. It fits into his divine plan of redemption, a reminder that nothing, not even the birth of evil, can escape God's sovereign will. But what does that mean for us today? The Bible reassures us that the Lord has established his throne in heaven and his kingdom rules over all. Lucifer's attempt to overthrow God was doomed from the start because no power, no ambition, and no evil can dethrone the Creator. His sovereignty ensures that all things, even the rebellion of Satan, work toward his ultimate purpose, the victory of good over evil, the restoration of creation, and the final defeat of Satan. Though Lucifer fell, leading many angels with him, God's plan didn't end there. Revelation chapter 20 verse 10 tells us the outcome. And the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur. Lucifer's fate is sealed. His rebellion will end, and God will have the final say. But until that day, we live in a world where pride and rebellion still tempt us, just as they did Lucifer. So what will you choose? Will you humble yourself before God, acknowledging His sovereignty over all things? Or will you allow pride to lead you down a dangerous path? Lucifer's story is not just a tale of the past, but a warning for every believer today. God's power is unmatched, and His plan will come to pass. Be sure to click like, share your comments below, and join our Patreon to support this channel in the link in the description.